7 on WABC Morning News Talk. Steve Stohlman is on the line with us now. Good morning, Steve.
Morning.
I understand you had a conference on appropriate transportation, is what you call it. One of the leaders of the Anti-Bike Regulation Coalition, right?
That's correct.
Okay. What do you not like about the idea?
Well, everything. We have only one non-polluting, quiet form of transportation available to us at the moment, and that's bicycles. And for some odd reason, some of the leaders of the New York City political scene have decided to ban it.
Yeah, the mayor in particular.
Well, actually, it was the mayor's move, but it was made at the urging of the police commissioner. The entire Department of Transportation upper echelon is against this idea, and have expressed themselves publicly that way, although not too publicly. For some odd reason, the police commissioner, rather than the professionals of the Department of Transportation, are having their way.
Okay, a conference on appropriate transportation. Let me ask you the obvious question based on the title of your organization. What would be appropriate?
Well, first of all, the highest quality public transportation is what we need in the first place. We need many fewer private cars, many fewer taxis, many fewer trucks. We need public transportation, which people want to take, and therefore they leave their cars home. That's one of the first things. Second thing is we need transportation which enables us to get the healthiest that we can out of our lives, and that means using our bodies, getting exercise like the bicycle, not producing pollution like the bicycle, taking up only the space that we need so that there's room left for people to walk around.
You don't represent only bicycle messengers and delivery people. You also represent, of course, people who ride their bicycles to work, a growing number of people in the city.
There are a large number of people who use the bicycles during the day in order to get from one place to another. There are people who ride into work, and there are people who use them for making their living. There are a great many people who use bicycles in the city, and they're not all messengers. And not all messengers are pit bulls on bicycles either. There's been a characterization in the media which I think is grossly unfair. A great many people who are messengers ride professionally well, and they don't get credit for that.
Okay, now 1 week from today, the police are planning to start issuing warnings to bicycle riders on the affected streets, and in 2 weeks, I guess they start writing real tickets. That's the idea. What are you guys going to do to try to stop it?
Well, first of all, we're guys and gals, and
what are you guys and gals going to do to try to stop it?
We're not a well-organized military machine. There are a great many people out there who have different ideas about how they ought to respond to this particular action. There will be legal responses. We're going to court to prove that this is an absurdity and constitutionally in other ways should not be allowed by law. And if it is for some reason allowed, people will respond the way they think is appropriate. I think.
How is it unconstitutional? How is it unconstitutional?
Well, there are a variety of challenges that are being made to it. One has to do with the fact that if, for instance, you can afford to get a motorcycle, you'll be unaffected by this ban. Whereas if you have to have a bicycle, you will not. This would seem to be in opposition to the Clean Air Act, which says we've got to get rid of pollution, and also would seem to discriminate against those who cannot afford to step up into the motorcycle category.
Selective enforcement.
Well, this is something which is called, I'm not sure exactly what the term is under constitutional law, but it has to do with inequality under the law.
More demonstrations along 6th Avenue?
No, we're going to try and get a little bit more creative. In fact, I would welcome any of your listeners who happen to be in the Midtown area during the next week or around City Hall to join us. We're going to be having legal rides up and down the avenue and around City Hall. Look for the blue balloons and the blue pennants. That will be the sign that you will see our riders. And what we're going to be doing is riding legally, as many of us together as possible. We're going to be giving out literature. We're going to be talking to pedestrians. We're going to be doing as much as possible to educate the public that bicycle riding is perhaps the most advisable form of transportation that we have here in the city. And that anything that can be done to encourage it is good, and that this ban is an absurdity, and that it just ought to be ignored, and that it ought to be turned around.
In some
ban, what we really need is a vast, dramatic improvement in bicycle facilities. That's parking, the integrity of the road, the education of people so they know how to ride. All of these things are necessary. This ban is just a bludgeon when we need a surgeon.
Okay, thanks a lot. Steve Stohlman, head of the Conference on Appropriate Transportation. Thank you very much for being with us this morning.
Take care.
I appreciate it. It's now 14 minutes before 7 on WABC Morning News Talk. Kathleen Maloney.